when we discuss a railroad line and we talk about stations, we think about this. If you've ever been on a train, you don't just get on a train and go from point A to point B. There's usually stops along the way, right? So as we progress in our alcoholism or in our addiction, those stations are opportunities for us to get off. Okay, if you've ever been in New York City, you go to Penn Station or Grand Central Station, you get off of one train, you could do what? You can get on another train, right? You can change trains. So that's your opportunity to get off the train of addiction or alcoholism and then move to a new train that we call recovery. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, one of the things you notice is that when I discuss alcoholism and addiction, I speak about it as a condition. Okay? How many people here think that I believe that addiction is a disease? Okay, so about almost all of you. All right. How many people believe addiction is a disease? Okay. How many don't think it is? Usually in a crowd, there'll be maybe 40 or 50% don't really think. A lot of guys won't even put their hands up. For those of you that think that I think it's a disease, well, you're kind of wrong because I just don't discuss it. And let me tell you why. There's a thing called, I call them contradictions. And what it is there's no, this is a condition that plays out in each one of us uniquely. Okay? Let me give you an example. When we talk about progressive, I was told early on that progressive means that it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. In fact, during my early years in the recovery process where I did not totally abstain, they said to me, if you start drinking again, you'll start exactly where you left off. Okay, and I looked at that, and I looked back at my history, and when they were explaining this concept of progressive nature and this chronic nature of addiction, I thought they're wrong. That doesn't fit me because for me personally, at 19 years old, I was in prison. My life was completely unmanageable. I got out of prison at 23, and then from 23 to almost 28, I continued to use here and there. I drank. I wasn't shooting drugs or anything like that anymore, but I was going out and partying. I wasn't getting into trouble that put me in prison. I wasn't doing the things that set my life apart where it did then at 19. I said, well, if that's not right, if what you're telling me about this condition is not right, then maybe I don't have it. Okay, so our brain searches for meaning in everything it does. We look for the contradictions and we go, that's not me. It's our protection mechanism, right? Does that make sense? So I'm cautious because there's certain people that do not believe that this is a disease. So why would we want to fight them on that? Right? Right? If you take your two hands and just put your two hands up, okay? Just you, John. All right? And when I put pressure on your hand, you're putting pressure back on me. Why?
Defense mechanism.
Defense mechanism. You don't trust me. So when I push you, you give me a little bit, but you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I push you, you push back. What if I did this, John? Would you allow me to? I'll move your arm back about 45 degrees, and I'm going to move your arm forward. Will you allow me to do that? Why did he let me do that? He knew it was coming, but why didn't he let it before? He had no idea, right? When we tell people what to do, when we push them into a belief that's not that they don't buy into it. Their brain is searching for meaning. They find contradictions in this whole concept of a disease. So when we're doing that, are we helping them? No, because if we're helping them, we're bringing them to a place where they can make a decision that this is affecting their life in a negative way. Does that make sense?